Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or as we like to say here at Shady Acres Woodshop, howdy. Today we have a piece of Cherry Plum. This comes to us from Tuffy Marginez. Jeff is a frequent contributor to the comments section on the videos, and he's a frequent contributor of wood for turning on this channel. And he's been a big help in supplying me some terrific pieces, and I so appreciate that. This piece today of Cherry Plum is roughly 10 inches across here, 12 inches across here, 15 inches across here. I think I'm gonna have to cut this off. So I will get this to the bandsaw. I'll bring it back here to the workbench. I'll take this faceplate ring. You may have seen me use this before. This is just like installing a faceplate. I'll put it right on the center, wherever I figure the center is at that time after this is gone. I'll attach it with 4 screws, and then what it has is a recess in here that my chuck jaws can grab onto, so I don't have to remove my chuck to put a faceplate in place. This just takes the place of a faceplate, and it's a real work and time saver. So I'll see you back here when it's time to get this mounted up on the lathe, and we'll get to turning. Stand by. Just in case you haven't seen me use this faceplate ring before, I wanted to give you an idea what it looks like. So again, it has a dovetail slot in here, and these are dovetail jaws on the outside. So if I just slip that over the jaws and then spread open the chuck, it grabs that dovetail ring and does a real nice solid job of holding it. Now the problem is, when I was drilling the holes, I noticed that they went in, the drill went in under some resistance and then immediately gave way on 2 of the screws. So I can't really trust it. I've only got 2 strong screws holding it, but that's the way it is sometimes. This piece is pretty much oval. It's much longer this way than it is this way. That's okay. We'll deal with it. I like it if we can try and keep it kind of that way. Who knows? We're just gonna turn it and find out what happens. Going to be turning at a little over 600 RPM with a standard grind 5/8 inch bowl gouge. I'm going to have my mask and face shield on. I don't have a shape in mind. I'm kind of waiting for the wood to dictate what that is. I can go quite a bit smaller and still have these huge natural voids in there that are going to look great. I'm going to see if I can pick the speed up any. Sure can. It's 1,000 RPM. I'm going to go sharpen up. I decided to go ahead and work on the bottom here. I need to make sure that I'm going to have room for a tenon, and we've got this pretty good sized void that looks like it goes back in there a ways. Just mark it out for the tenon. Well, that's a problem. It's not a huge problem because we got most of a tenon there. That hole's growing, isn't it? I'm going to use this diamond point tool to straighten up the sides of this tenon. Okay, I feel good about that. I left the base extra wide here till I determine what I want to do, which I guess I better start figuring out, huh? I guess I kind of like the shape that I have so far. I know you're thinking, Phil, you don't even have a shape, buddy. Well, I do. Remember, it's oval. We're going to leave a lot of this bark in here. And of course, we're going to leave these deep voids in there. You stick with me, it's going to look good. Yeah, I think I will come in here, reduce this by about 2/3. The base will be in here. I think I might have to go sharpen up again. That's about the right size base now. Got a decent tenon. Guess I'd like to get up here a little further. I'm gonna go sharpen up again. Got a sharp gouge and I picked the speed up to 1200 RPM. I'm afraid I gotta go sharpen again. This is some hard stuff. I'll be right back. Well, it occurs to me I was zoomed in there so far you couldn't see this flat part of it. But I wanted to give you a different view so you could see. See, this is all flat and I wish it wasn't. But if I try and get rid of this corner right here, which is what I'd like to get rid of, then I'm getting right into this beautiful, beautiful highlight piece. That's actually a branch coming out of there. And I just noticed that it's a little tiny bit wiggly. So I'm going to put some CA down in here and I'm going to try and take care of this corner with sanding. I think I'm done turning, although I do have to do some pull cuts and get rid of some of these tool marks in here. I think I'm just going to take an 80 grit sanding disc and kind of round this corner over. That'd make me feel a lot better. Can't lose that. So I'm going to put some CA glue in here. Camera off. It's just putting CA glue in there. You're not missing much. Let it set up for 5 minutes or so, and then I'll smooth out these tool marks, and I'll take care of this during the sanding stage. Because I don't want to go up any higher, and I think to me this is gorgeous to me. This kind of stuff, you can't beat that. So I'll do the CA, and I'll be back in a minute. We'll do some pull cut. When you're dealing with a piece of wood like this particular maneuver that I'm doing right now, shear scraping, is really difficult. You're looking for flaws to scrape out, but there's a lot of flaws here. So you scrape and you find out, oh, it's a flaw. It's not anything I did. It's not a tool mark. It's part of the wood. So this is kind of difficult to do, but it appears to be working. Now you can use a big round nose scraper too, like this, but this tends to raise the grain. You just can't get this as sharp as you can a gouge. Certainly it would be a whole lot easier to use this, I can tell you that, but it would not do as good a job. See, I've still got a spot here, a little bit here. Time for sanding. I'll start with my Sandoflex, and I'll show you that. And then I'll switch to a 2-inch sanding disc with 80 grit in reverse at about 350 RPM, and I'll show you that as soon as I get my mask on. I'm just giving you a quick glimpse of it. I will do a better job than that, but that's basically what it's going to look like. And then we'll put the lathe in reverse, bring it up to about 350. And then I will alternate between forward and reverse. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I expect it to take me about 2 hours to get this ready for finish, and I'm pretty sure we're going to go with sanding sealer and shellac on this. See you in a bit. Well, as I suspected, that was a job. More like 3 hours of sanding. And now I'm putting on sanding sealer. This is shellac-based sanding sealer, and I'll put on, looks like 2 coats of this, and then probably 2 coats of shellac over it. I'm telling you, this is gonna look amazing. I get some sanding sealer and shellac on that bark. Oh boy, it's gonna stand out like you just won't believe. This is some of my favorite wood to turn, and again, it's called Cherry Plum. Looks pretty good so far, huh? And I've just put some in this little can, and I'll take this little acid brush and I'll just brush it in every place I can possibly reach. And this is gonna take quite a little while to get done. So I won't make you watch all that. I'll get, like I said, 2 coats of sanding sealer on here, maybe 3. Just depends on what it looks like, but I think 2 is going to do it. And at least 2 coats of shellac. That's my usual practice. And I'll bring you back when it's time to turn this around and start hollowing it out. See you in a bit. I feel like I need tailstock support. The problem is there's nothing here for the tailstock to set on. So I have this little cutoff that came from something else. I don't know what it came from. So I'm just going to put that here as a way to hold some pressure on the bowl while I turn it for as long as I can. Just apply a little pressure there. I haven't checked to see what kind of speed we can get. You can see there's quite a little bit of wobble. Mostly that's because it's oval. Starts wobbling around 700. I'm going to see if I can get past that. Smooths out there. It's about 1100. We'll go with that. I have my freshly sharpened 5/8 inch bowl gouge. Boy, that is sharp. I'm going to get my mask and face shield on, and we're going to get to hollowing this out. Wow. I just sharpened this and it's dull. I guess I'll go sharpen up again. Man, I gotta get some better tools. I'll be right back. If the sharpening issue becomes just too much for us, I'm gonna switch to carbide. There's no point in fighting it. This is very hard wood. And this particular piece came from very close to the ground, so it's probably got some dirt and sand in there. Wow. Wow. I can't even cut it. I sure prefer a gouge, but I'm just getting nowhere. I'll try one more time, but... I give up. I'm pushing really hard and getting nowhere. We will go with this hollowing tool. I need to get up a little higher with my tool rest. Well, I guess once that's gone, this thing's going to go flying. And it's still a good tenon. It's just a little smaller than I wish it was. So I'm going to try it without tailstock support. I just wanted to get this dirt out of here so that it's not hitting me in the face while it's spinning. Maybe it's looking kind of ratty, but it's not. Well, I mean, you know, it is, but it's not. By the time I get down to the bottom of this, I don't believe we're going to have a hole in the bottom. It's just this center portion here that's kind of rotten. Tuffy told me this piece was just above the ground. Still need to finish off this top edge, get rid of this center, do a little more turning on the inside, and then some scraping and sanding. Just a little over 1,000 RPM. We're getting there. Got a long ways to go to the bottom, so I'm probably going to go back to carbide. Well, son of a gun, I do see a hole down in there. I hope that's wood and not dirt, but yeah, a little of both, I guess. Yeah, there's a hole in our bucket. Who remembers who sang that song? Got a hole in my bucket. Probably with more than one version, I suppose. Well, I'm probably not going to go a lot deeper. I'm sure it's at least an inch thick. Yep, just about exactly an inch. But the deeper I go, the bigger that hole's gonna get. And I don't want a big old deep hole. Big enough. Let me just do some checking here. Now that's about a 1/16 of an inch right there. That's where the bark inclusion is. The deep bark inclusion on the outside. Well, what we're gonna do, I'm still not real happy with this top edge. I'm just gonna do some cleanup cuts and then we'll scrape it. I think we're done turning pretty much, but I'm gonna go sharpen my gouge. I'll be right back. Well, I see where my gouge keeps going dull, even when I was just working on this edge. That's a rock right there. I've been digging at it here for a minute or two, and I can't quite get it out. Oh, that's way better. Wow. Good job, Phil. That is the best we can do, and it's pretty dang good. Okay, I'm gonna clean up my area here. I'm gonna spend some time blowing all this stuff out of here. Hopefully I can get a lot of the dirt out, and I'll bring you back in just a minute when it's time for sanding. I'm starting at 80 grit. I'll work up through 400 grit. I will be alternating. I'm going in forward right now. I'll be alternating in reverse. And when I do that, I'll be working on this side. So, forward, reverse, 80 through 400. Bring you back when it's time to put some sanding sealer on here. I'm really happy with this piece. Really happy. And I would always encourage any wood turner that wants to turn something like this, that likes maybe what I do and wants to give it a try, I would always encourage them to do that. It's really rewarding from my point of view. But you have to be willing to put the work in, and it is work. This sanding went really well, and it's really smooth. I guess that part always amazes me, even though I've done many of these kinds of pieces. It's amazing how smooth you can get them, because it just doesn't look possible maybe. But you have to be patient. You have to work at it. You have to do some hand work with the sandpaper. You just have to realize that your work will pay off. So if you ever get the chance to turn one of these, take that chance. And I've said it many times, and I'll say it again, I wouldn't even do what I do. I wouldn't do these kinds of pieces if I didn't have Sandoflex and compressed air. So this is the first of probably 2 coats of sanding sealer. I think that's what I put on the outside, with 2 coats, and 2 coats of shellac. So I'll bring you back here in a little bit when it's time to take the tenon off. Then we will have a completed work of art. And again, this is nature's art. All I did here was reveal it. So see you in a bit. Looking good, huh? Ooh boy. I've mounted a block of wood up in my chuck. It's got a non-slip surface on it. I'm gonna push the bowl over that and bring up my tailstock. I still have the center hole there for reference. Just gonna apply a little pressure. Bring up my tool rest. Spin it up a little bit. See if it looks like it's running true. And it is. Turn the speed up to about 600. I'm going to take a 3/8 inch standard grind bowl gouge and commence to removing that tenon. I want to get it as smooth as I can so sanding is easy. And that looks pretty good. And I'm going to get my tool rest even closer. And I'm going to switch to a 3/8 inch swept back bowl gouge. And that'll allow me to get in there a little bit closer. I'm going to turn the speed down to about 400 RPM. And just keep working that away. And it's quite small now, so I'm going to turn it down to 200 RPM. And I'm going to apply the bevel of the gouge against the bottom of the bowl. And I'm going to put my right hand on the gouge and my left hand on the switch. And when the little nub stops turning, we'll know we're through. Like that. Couldn't be any smoother or cleaner than that. And then I'm just going to take it over here to the workbench and sand up this 2-inch area. Is that beautiful or what? One cherry plum bowl in the books. What I like about it is no matter which side you look at, you see at least 2 bark inclusions. It's just too cool. There's the bottom all finished up. A lot of people ask me what kind of pen I use. It's a Sharpie Ultra Fine Point, and I simply put wax over the signature. I haven't found a finish yet, except maybe wipe on poly, that doesn't wipe out the ink. So I just put wax over it. It blends right in, looks fine. It's not quite as shiny, but I kind of like that as well. It's oval shape overall on the top. What a beautiful, beautiful piece of wood. Tuffy Marginez, thank you so much for sending this along for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up please, I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly, I truly appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you might consider becoming one. I put out regular videos about 1 a week, and I'd like to keep in touch. Your comments are always welcome, and I read all of them. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.